Bill coming out and to our annual State of the City and County address. We appreciate the time you're going to spend to hear this conversation. During this morning, you're going to be asked to turn your attention to the screen for videos, for facts, for information, things that, we know you'll care about. And one of those things is that March is colon rectal cancer month. And we're trying to promote awareness. Many of us are wearing blue for that. And I will say, as a two-time cancer survivor who had to have my colon, had to have a colon resection because of my cancer, I very much support that, and I'm wearing blue. So, thank you all. Awareness is important. Thank you, Mayor Cotton and Judge David for being able to come and show us sharing with us today. We're grateful for that, and we know that you're going to have some very insightful information. We have some special guests, and I'm trying not to miss anybody, but Morgan Albee, McConnell's office, is here. Alex Caldwell from Governor Beshears' office is here. Homer's office is here. So, thank you all for making this happen. I know we also have some elected officials here this morning, so would you please stand if you're elected officials so we can thank you and acknowledge your service. Now, if you will join me in welcoming our presenting sponsor for this event. J. Jason Hawkins is President and CEO of First United Bank and Trust Company. He currently serves on several boards, including Baptist Health, Deaconess Madisonville, the Madisonville Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation, and the Salvation Army. He is a member of the Massillon Kiwanis and Vice Chairman of the Kentucky Bankers Association and Board of Directors. Mr. Hawkins holds a bachelor's in finance and a master's in business administration from Murray. So go Racers. So thank you for your sponsorship of this and so many other things.
Thank you, Lisa. I look out across this room and I'm just so thankful for the many leaders that are here today, for your interest in what's going on in the city and county. Thank you for coming out this morning. It is a testament to all the good things that are going on here and that you're eager to be here today. Speaking of community leaders, I want to introduce someone. I'm going to take off my First United Bank hat for a minute and put on my Baptist Health Deaconess hat. I would like to introduce to you Dr. Chris Toller. He is the new Chief Medical Officer at Baptist Health Deaconess Madisonville. 4 days on the job at this point. If you haven't had the opportunity to meet Chris, he's a wonderful guy. Staff's really speaking highly of him, so make sure that you take that opportunity to meet Dr. Toller. We are obviously here on a rainy day. Appreciate you braving the weather. You didn't come here though to listen to me. You came to listen to Jack and Kevin, and I know that they've prepared a lot of good things for you today. I do want to say just a little plug to First United Bank. This is our 30th year in Hopkins County, and we're excited to celebrate that a little bit later this month. But in the last 30 years, a lot of things have changed in Madisonville and Hopkins County. And, some of those have been really good, some of them maybe not so good, but the beauty is we've got leaders that work together, that communicate with one another, that join together to get things accomplished, and that's what's really good. That's what's exciting. We've seen a lot of things happen in our community, and it's because of the work that all of our leaders have done to make those things happen, and I'm just glad that First United Bank has a little bit of a small part in being able to help support our community. So thank you. Without further ado, I would like to introduce our moderator today, Jason Vincent. He's the Executive Director of the Pennyroyal Area Development District. Jason's career with the Pennyroyal ADD began in 2004 and includes positions of Assistant Director, Project Coordinator, And then prior to joining the staff at Pennyroyal ADD, he held various positions in the banking industry, so friends in banking. He holds a bachelor's degree in finance and an MBA from Murray State University. Again, go Racers. Certified economic development finance professional and serves on various boards, councils, and committees throughout the region. And one thing I'll say about Jason, he supports this area and he's always involved. And so Jason, I really appreciate that. Come on up, moderate for us, and let's hear all the good things that are going on. Thanks, sir.
Jason, I always like to hear our bios together because they sound fairly familiar when we're talking about our education. That makes me feel good. If I can be like you, that tells me a lot. But good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And this morning is about progress. It's about projects that you can see. It's about projects that you don't necessarily always see. But it's about the work that's happening behind the scenes and the partnerships. And I know we've already talked a little bit about those partnerships. But I just want to tell you, you all hear me say this a lot when I speak. Here in Hopkins County, we are so fortunate to have the leaders that we do, and the relationship that we have between our local officials, especially Mayor Cotton and Judge Whitfield, that's really unique. And I think those that are out and about throughout the region, throughout our state, it is a unique situation, and it's definitely recognized across the state. But, so, because of that, would you give our local officials another round of applause? So you're going to hear us talk a lot about public safety this morning, infrastructure, housing, economic development, and really just the quality of life that really makes living and working and playing here in Hopkins County a great place. But before we do that, I do have a couple of things I want to do. And I know Lisa has already recognized Morgan and Alex and Austin, but I just want to say one thing about them. We could not do what we do without them. So thank you all for being here and for showing up every time we call you. And the next thing I need to do is that Representative Wade Williams, he's working hard for us right now in Frankfort, but he did prepare a video for us. So if you don't mind to go ahead and direct your attention to the screen, and we'll get that video started.
Hello, I'm State Representative Wade Williams, representing District 4 and all of Hopkins County. During the 2026 regular session, we are focused on results, working together to create meaningful progress and a brighter future for all Kentuckians. Economic growth is the key to that work, and it remains the foundation of a strong and prosperous state. Economic growth touches every part of life in Kentucky, from jobs and education to opportunities for families across the Commonwealth. That's why the House majority continues to prioritize policies that keep Kentucky moving forward. As of January 2026, the individual income tax rate officially dropped to 3.5%, down from 6% just a few years ago. This is a major step in our ongoing tax reform efforts. For Kentucky families, that means more of their hard-earned money stays in their pockets. Money that they can save, invest, and spend right here at home. At its core, this is about respecting the work of Kentucky families and allowing them to keep more of what they earn. It's also about building an economy that works by encouraging business growth, attracting new investment, and creating jobs. We're working to cut red tape and support business-friendly legislation, making it easier to do business in Kentucky. By reducing overburdensome regulations, we're helping local businesses grow, attract new investment, and create good-paying jobs in communities across this Commonwealth. Kentucky's progress is measurable. Record low unemployment, historic economic investment, and thousands of new jobs in communities across the state. At the same time, we've made major investments in infrastructure while staying true to our values and our commitment to fiscal responsibility. These tax cuts reflect a conservative budgeting approach that's delivering real results, lower taxes, smart investments, and responsible planning. Kentucky has maintained a strong budget reserve trust fund, demonstrating fiscal discipline, living within our means, and preparedness for unexpected challenges. We're currently in an even year session in the General Assembly, Having no more than 60 legislative days until our adjournment sine die on April 15th, as a budget year, the decisions we make will set the direction for Kentucky, because the budget is where the priorities become action. The House majority is committed to building on our progress, strengthening Kentucky's economy, and investing taxpayer dollars wisely with a clear vision for the future. Our priorities are clear: smart policy, responsible budgets, and a pro-growth environment. We're keeping taxes low, demanding accountability, and standing up for the people who make Kentucky work, because economic growth is a responsibility. Together, we keep Kentucky moving forward. Thank you for the opportunity to join you today, and I look forward to the progress we'll make together.
We have already touched on that we have, but we are really fortunate to have strong leadership in Frankfort, strong representation there. Would you all agree?
Wade does a great job. You know, I grew up with Wade and have seen him over the years. And he goes up there and represents us very, very well.
Yeah, there's no question. Having the relationships that we have with Wade, not just here locally, but having that person speaking on our behalf in Frankfort is a big deal. And when you go up to Frankfort, some of you have been up there, and you go in and you talk to them and you talk to other representatives and other senators, you'll hear them say great things about Wade Williams and talk about his leadership and where they anticipate that he'll go in the future. Senator Mills is the same way. Senator Mills is very supportive of Madison on Hopkins County and has the same respect in Frankfort that Wade has.
Just so you all know, as we're speaking, you'll probably see some things going on over here on the slideshow. So feel free to focus your attention wherever you would like. But Judge, we're going to start with you this morning. Public safety is something that everyone in this room cares deeply about and remains really one of the most important functions of county government. And we've seen the beautiful new Sheriff's Department facility off I-69, and it's really something that I feel like our community can be proud of. Can you give us an update on what's going on out there, and then maybe some other things that are happening in the county throughout public safety?
Yeah, so the Sheriff's Department is done. They are moved in. You know, we talk about all the things that we're trying to do, from economic development to housing, commercial, retail, industrial. All of it has to go together, and if we don't have a safe community, people don't want to come here. And putting the Sheriff's Office out off of I-69, I think, was very important. It didn't make sense at this point. You know, when the Sheriff's Office was in the courthouse, because they had to be near the courtrooms, near the judges. That's not the case now with all the electronic information that they can do. So putting them out almost dead in the center of the county with very quick access to the interstate, the MPD does a great job responding. In Madisonville, the sheriff's deputies don't respond in the city unless there's something odd going on. They respond out in the county. So moving them out there just made sense. We were able to use federal ARPA funding that we got from COVID to build that facility. So now we can have a contactless tax payment system. So we'll have a drive-through out there. So you don't have to get out, go into the basement, and to see the sheriff's deputy. So that building is going to be great for the community, and it helps with everything else. Like I say, you know, law enforcement, public safety has to be there for anything else to happen. So we're really proud to have that facility now. And if you didn't go to the ribbon cutting, by the way, that was the biggest ribbon cutting I have ever been to. More people for the ribbon cutting at the sheriff's office than anything else. And we've opened some really good businesses, but everybody came to the sheriff's office for the ribbon cutting. So that was great. If you haven't been there, go out there and check it out. It's a really good facility. If you haven't been there yet, you will, because everybody pays property taxes. Sorry. You'll get a chance to go.
Let's don't talk about taxes. So Mayor, staying in the public safety lane, but let's shift to the city side. You've talked for several years about the Western Kentucky Law Enforcement Training Academy, and we know that recently Senator McConnell helped secure $2.5 million for the cyber crimes unit. Can you share what's happening there and really how this facility positions Madisonville to move forward?
Yeah, listen, first and foremost, I want to recognize some people that are in the room before we get too far in. The city team, if you're part of the city team, will you please stand up? Yeah, that means you all.
Go ahead and include the county team too there, Kevin. Jump in if you please.
The county team.
Magistrates, all that.
We couldn't do what we do, and we wouldn't be in the position that we're in if it weren't for the teams that we have around us. The partnership that we have is incredible. The teams that we have working with us are even more incredible. And so it puts us at the forefront of what's happening across the state. My family is here as well. I want to make sure that I recognize them. They are the backbone. They're the ones that are having to sacrifice when we're not home, or when we're in D.C., or when we're in Frankfort. But the past 4 years, really, we've worked hard on the police academy and getting that located in Western Kentucky. It's something that was talked about for 20 plus years, and it was just never able to get across the finish line. And because we have the support with our state representative and our senator there in Frankfort, we were able to have countless meetings. We were up there in their ear constantly, but they recognized that Madisonville was a great location and offered a lot of opportunities for law enforcement across the state. It's not just for Western Kentucky. Right now, they've already graduated 2 classes. The 3rd class starts in just about a month, and we'll get that one kicked off. There's been over 2,500 students trained at that facility with over 60,000 hours logged in at the new training center. We have Morgan with us. Morgan, thank you so much. We had call after call after call after call. We had reduction after reduction. We had opportunities. We appreciate your patience with this project, but at the end of the day, it made it across the finish line. And now we're going to have a state-of-the-art cybercrime lab, forensics lab here in Madisonville that will serve the entire region and offer opportunities to solve crimes quicker. It's going to put Madisonville again on the map for the state as we're navigating challenges and issues when it comes to cell phone data, your car computer data. Anything that's an electronic has some type of computer device, and we're going to be able to navigate that to solve crimes across the state much quicker. When you look at law enforcement as a whole, last year in 2024 we were down 30% from our overall crime. This year we're down again 10%, so it's a 40% decrease in crime over the past several years. So for that to be the case in our community, I think it's a big win when we're out doing retail recruitment, when we're out doing manufacturing and industrial recruitment, and they like to see a safe community.
You know, and Jason had talked a little bit about the way that you and I have worked together, but that decrease in crime, we started to see when Chief Wade Williams and Sheriff Matt Sanderson started working together instead of seeing each other as competition. And that's continued over the years. And I think that partnership has really helped with the safety of our community. And then you're talking about the new police academy, and if you look on the screen over there, that's not where it's at right now, is it?
No, actually the new police academy is going to be on Bean Cemetery Road, and they will have a ribbon or a groundbreaking ceremony in April. The first phase of that project is going to be $50 million. They anticipate the total project to be upwards of $300 million when it's completed. And it's going to be right here in Madisonville. Right now it's in the old MTech building out on Industrial Drive, and we took something that was 20,000 square feet. It was underutilized. It was already owned by the city, and we were able to turn that into the state-of-the-art facility that it is today.
Yeah, the state's putting $50 million?
$50 million in the first phase, yeah.
And people don't think about that as being economic development because you don't think about law enforcement as economic development. But there are going to be hundreds and eventually thousands of people that come through the community to train here that are going to be spending their money here, going to the stores here, going to the restaurants. So every piece just goes together.
Yeah, and it's everybody working together as a one unit. Whether it's Kentucky State Police, the Sheriff's Department, the City Police, everybody working for the same goal, and that's to reduce crime in our communities and make it as safe as possible. And again, it just wouldn't happen without the team of people, and each and every one of you as well, because you're back there supporting us and rooting us on as we're getting through this. So.
You know, if most people in here are like me, you start talking about these cyber crimes, it's scary. And to think about everything that we rely on, our phones, our computers, the systems in our cars and how they can be impacted, it's really cool to think that what we've got going on here in Madisonville, in Hopkins County, is going to deal with those type of issues going forward. So really neat. During this rain, I think it's a good time to start talking about storm sewer and water. But Judge, we've talked public safety. We've talked. So let's talk water infrastructure now. Congressman Comer, he was in town a few weeks ago and awarded funding to the South Hopkins Water District. And water always, it doesn't necessarily get a spotlight unless it doesn't work. Unless the water doesn't come on whenever you turn the faucet on, or the toilet doesn't flush when you need it to. So talk about the upgrades that are going to take place with that project and other things as far as infrastructure.
Yeah, you're right. Water's not a sexy topic that you put up on billboards or anything. But if you don't have it, it's a problem. So, and we know that not just through the city and county, but across the state and the country, our infrastructure is aging. And water is one of those things that it was buried in the ground back in 1950, 1960, and until it busts, you don't know that there's a problem. So now because we have good people in our water districts, we know that there are issues. We know that we've got loss. It's just water that comes out of the pipes, goes into the ground. So we're beginning to work. Not beginning, we've been working on it, but we've got a lot of work left to do, replacing pipes, adding water towers. So we got some funding from the federal government to replace the pipe. We got, I think 26 miles is what South Hopkins has. We've got 9 water districts in the county. There's hundreds of miles of water line in the county. And the county put up $2 million to build a new water tank so we could help the school system to make sure that they've got the water they need down Central, and that's going to help the entire area. You can't grow if you don't have water. So in that water tank, we're looking toward the future. And the money from the federal government that Congressman Comer came down to talk about is going to help keep us going and be able to supply absolute necessity to the people in the south end of the county.
That's those projects we can't see happening sometimes.
Yeah, and you don't see it until you don't have it.
Well, speaking about flushing the toilet, y'all had your colon check lately?
I will say I've had my checkup done. I'm over 50, so I've had it done. I've got my blue ribbon on for Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. Also, I want to say my twin sister's out here right now, and I didn't know this until today, and I should have, because she's my favorite person in the world that I grew up with from the time I was in the womb. It's also Multiple Sclerosis Awareness Month. So MS Month, and you'll never know her because she's the toughest, happiest person that I know. And she's got MS, and I love you, sister. So thank you for being here today, and we'll work on the MS Awareness Month. I won't forget next year.
And thanks for putting the ribbon on the right side for me. No, I have not been through all of those tests yet, and
I will say,
it's just taking a good nap.
It's the best sleep you will ever have.
I heard that, but I will tell you that it does hit home. It's very personal. We lost my brother-in-law to colon cancer, so I've seen my family go through some challenges with colon issues, and so it is very important. It's definitely something that is preventable if you can have those tests early. And but I am wearing a ribbon in honor and memory of my brother-in-law and my father. So.
Well, I saw statistics where it is the leading cause of cancer deaths among adults 45 and younger, or 50 and younger. So it is definitely something those individuals in my age group, 48-year-old, really need to be thinking about. And I know that the hospital has rolled out their 45 and forward initiative. So if you haven't done it yet, do it.
Something we never thought we'd talk about up here, so we're taking it serious.
That's right.
Thank you, Lynn.
That's right. That's right. So, Mayor, Congressman Comer also made some announcements regarding infrastructure in Madisonville. Talk about the major projects that you have underway and what it means for the residents and businesses here.
Yeah, so we've talked about this project for years now, the West Knoll Interceptor project. That's one of the largest infrastructure projects that the city has had. It's a $25 million project. Congressman Comer was able to get some funds for us to help go towards that project. It was right at $1 million, I think, for that project. But it wouldn't have been possible without PAD. So all the things that PAD do for us, thank you very much for helping us navigate those conversations and those constant updates and application processes. But it is, that's going to set our community up for the next 50 years. The council has approved for the final phase of that to move forward and get that shifted and connected so that all of our sewer is not going over to the mall. And as we're sitting here with our fingers crossed with the amount of rain that we have right now, it's not actually causing overflows all throughout town. That project will eliminate those and will allow us to look, as we're looking in the future and looking at new projects coming in, we're going to be able to say yes to those projects. Another big grant that we received was for a water line that will be servicing Dean Cemetery Road, which will be the new power plant and the new police academy. That project is already underway. The engineering process has already started. They've been surveying. Hopefully, as soon as the weather changes, we'll start that project. And but it's another connectivity piece. It's going to allow us at some point down the road to connect over to South Hopkins with a larger line as well. Once their infrastructure project is completed, that they can handle additional flows. So all of those things come into play. And it's things that you don't see. I mean, if you're interested and you want to go see the milk chocolate factory, we can take you out and show you that. The no-bake cookies, the brownies, we have all of those things available for you to see. If you want to go over to the water filter plant and see that process.
Some people are still eating.
No-bake cookies are good.
Hey, you know, if you haven't been through the ambassador program,
Yeah, you can go
see
see
all
all
that
that
stuff.
program.
Yeah.
But seriously, it's very intriguing to see and understand how the process works and to better understand when you're paying that water bill, what those funds are going for. Keith and his team, Dustin and his team, working constantly on the aging infrastructure that we have all throughout the city, being in front of that, you know, making sure that we're doing everything that we possibly can to be proactive instead of reactive. We've been reactive for so long that it's really put us in a tough position. So the help that we receive from McConnell's office and Austin over at Congressman Comer's office is honestly, it's unmeasurable, and we appreciate everything that you do for us here in Madisonville.
So, Judge, we've been talking about some of these larger projects that are happening across the county, and I know that you personally have spent a tremendous amount of time trying to get Hopkins County eligible for funding through the Abandoned Mine Lands Revitalization Program, and you've done it. You've got that accomplished, and it's really no small accomplishment. It actually took an act of Congress, and you know we talked about that, but we did get an act of Congress done. But can you talk about how this funding positions Hopkins County for future growth?
Well, it's a new funding stream that is going to be available to Western Kentucky. Judge Onan and Judge Henry and myself have been to D.C. several times, and Frankfurt, because they kept kind of saying, well, this money's controlled in Frankfurt, or it's controlled in D.C., and they go back and forth. So Congressman Comer wrote in the bill that it has to be available to Western Kentucky, and it's a fund that's for reclaiming abandoned mine lands for economic development. And for the last 8 or 10 years, the state has used the needs of Western Kentucky, because we know we've had a lot of mining in this area, and Hopkins County has the greatest funding need for abandoned mine lands in the state. They've always used those numbers to get that funding for the state, but it's never been available to Western Kentucky. They've always used it out in the east. So this is going to be an economic development fund that we can find projects for and apply for, and it's usually about $20 to $25 million across the state. Now that doesn't mean 25 million is coming to Hopkins County, but it means that some of that is going to be available to us. So we'll be looking for ideas, and it's has to be used on specific land. It's not just for any kind of funding. It has to be used very specific land, but there's a lot of different opportunities that we can use that for. And because we have fought so hard to get that available, we will definitely be applying for that AMLR funding. The mayor and I have talked about this. You know, we've had mining throughout the county. It's under most of the cities, most of the county, the strip lands. So we will find some use for this funding. And again, Congressman Comer listened to us every time we came up there, and he made sure that we were going to be available, this money would be available to us. So have to thank him for that.
Well, you touched on something that you spent a lot of time in DC advocating for this and Frankfurt, but on that same note, I know you and the mayor, you all spend a considerable amount of time in DC working with our federal delegation. And Mayor, I know you landed last night from a trip to DC earlier this week, and both of you all will be going back next week. So is there anything you would like to share about what you're talking about when you're having those conversations with our federal folks?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand and realize that just because we have senators and congressmen, it doesn't mean that they're always paying attention to your community. They represent the state, they represent countless cities and counties across the state. So if just like on our retail recruitment efforts, if we want to be heard, if we want to be seen, then we have to be in front of them. We have to let them know that we're there. We have to let them know that we have needs in our community. And those needs go from anywhere from tourism-related needs to cybercrime needs to law enforcement training needs to water and sewer needs. It's really across the board. This past week, yesterday we were up there working and advocating for really a workforce piece, because we were advocating for Fort Campbell. And Fort Campbell, if you don't know, they have over 400 soldiers a month that are exiting out of Fort Campbell into the workforce, and the majority of those individuals are wanting to stay right here in the area. So we're down there recruiting, our HR team, Brad Long, they're all down navigating and advocating for those individuals to locate in Madisonville and work in Madisonville. We want those disciplines here. So if we're going to be able to have that resource, we need to make sure that we're helping advocate for funding for the projects that they need as well. So working as a region, we're able to get more things accomplished. And I think that that's really what sets us apart, Judge, is the fact that you and I work really well together, but we work for the region, not just for our four and no more. And I think that that's important for all of our congressmen and senators and state representatives and senators on the state side to see and recognize. And the more that we're in front of them, when we're up there with a need or an ask, they recognize who we are and that we're not always wanting something, right? So this year we have a couple of small projects that we've been able to work on in Frankfurt, but really it's just to stay in front of them. It's to make sure that we can't do anything to help them, because there are times that they need help too, right? So we have a lot of friends in the legislature, and I think it's very important to just stay relevant and stay in front of them and tell our story and share what our needs are.
Yeah, one of the good things about our congressmen and our senators, they're available. You know, we've got Morgan and Austin that we can call anytime, but we go to DC to get in front of, but we can also communicate throughout the year, and we do. One thing I will talk to the congressman about when we get to DC is Transportation Secretary Gray appointed me to the Ohio River Crossing Tolling Board, and recently the information came out what those tolling rates were going to be, and I've seen a lot of comments on it. And the good thing was that nobody knew I was on that board. So now you do.
They do now.
So in the first meeting, one of the questions I asked was, okay, we've set these tolling rates to pay off the expected debt for that I-69 bridge over a period of 37 years. That's how long that's expected to take. So one of the first questions I asked was, if we can get some additional federal grants with those tolling rates, can we bring those down? Or possibly work on something to where local people pay a lower rate? And that is possible. So, we'll be talking to the senator and congressman about trying to get additional federal help for that bridge, because that crossing is going to be huge for the entire region. Again, we don't work for the future is what we're working for, and that includes the whole region. And that crossing will be huge for the entire region. So the more we can do to get it done faster and to get that toll as low as possible will continue to help us grow for decades.
Next week, I will be riding with Mayor Cotton to the airport, so if you do have a helmet I can borrow, I would much appreciate that.
You know, I don't have any contacts for speeding tickets in DC or Maryland.
Okay. So, Judge, let's switch a little bit.
Let's speed this up a little bit.
Housing is one of the hottest topics that you have, not only here in our region, but really nationally. And we're seeing some multi-housing facilities going up in Dawson Springs and in other areas of the county. Talk a little bit about what's driving that and how you see that helping the county moving forward.
Well, if you don't have housing, you don't have families, you don't have residents, you don't have workers, you don't have economic development, you don't have kids coming to our school system. So, you know, we've talked over and over about it's an all of the above approach. You can't have economic development without people. So we've worked really hard to get that done, and one of the biggest ones is the housing development that are going up in Dawson Springs. Right now there are 48 units that are in progress, and there's another 40 units that the site work is being done. You know, in 21, when the tornado came through and destroyed so much housing, a lot of those houses were rental units, and there were people that maybe either weren't ready or couldn't afford to buy a house. So working with those developers to bring those housing units to that area and bring those people back. In addition to the housing units, we also have some build-ready sites going in. You can see some of the work on the screen over there. So we're going to have apartments close to where they can go to work in. So you put all that together to grow for the future. And that's what we're doing. And we're seeing housing developments throughout the county. You know, all around we've got from $500,000 homes to one-bedroom apartments. And that's what we need, is that mix. And I know that the mayor's worked with a lot of developers to do the same thing, because you've got to have the housing to get the people here to support everything else that we're doing.
And Mayor, I know housing just isn't a county topic, county conversation, but it's very much a city conversation as well. Can you update us on some of the housing opportunities that are coming available here in the city? And I know, especially downtown with what's going on in the library here.
Yeah, so to kind of piggyback on something Jack mentioned about some of the things that are going on in the county, I think it's important for everybody to understand the work that goes on behind the scenes as a team, collectively, as an economic development board, working to make projects like the housing development work in Dawson Springs. That's something that we've been advocating for really for almost 5 years. So it's just taken this long to get it across the finish line. And as you look at the developments on the screen over here, a lot of these projects have taken multiple years to get across the finish line as well. We have, you know, if we're going to meet the workforce demand, we have to have the additional housing. We have a very large population of people that drive into Madisonville. A lot of you all drive into Madisonville to go to work every day, and a lot of that's because we don't have a lot of housing available. So, or the right type of housing available, as we had a housing study that was done. So right now on the screen you can see that we're still working in the Lakewood subdivision with 33 lots, Yorktown's 40 lots, Country Club, although it's half in the city and half in the county, I think, right there. So we'll give Judge the credit for the Country Club, 10 apartments.
We'll take 5
across from the Country Club. But you're going to see some things happening there. Harper Village is under construction. They've got their dirt work is well underway out there. Well, it's probably washed away at this point, but they're working on their dirt work out there. That's going to be 32 units. If you look off to the east, off the Parkway there by Victory Church, you'll notice new apartment complexes going in there. 2 buildings. One building's under roof. One building may be close to being under roof. The second one's being framed, or third one's being framed up right now. That's 120 unit apartment complexes. Those are going to be anywhere from 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom, and some are going to be fully furnished. So as we're navigating that housing for traveling nurses and doctors and executives in the community, those are going to be available for them. Greystone subdivision, you're going to see some huge things happening right there real soon. Additional 22 units right there. Legacy Spaces, which is the downtown project. Stephanie, where's Stephanie at? Stephanie's in the back corner. Stephanie, stand up. We need everybody to see you in the back corner. I want to let you all understand the importance and the role that Stephanie has played in revitalizing downtown. She, as some of you all know, bought the Bryant Jewelry Building and then the Clements Building, made an investment in the downtown, moved downtown, but that inspired somebody else to do something very similar. So the old library building that was going to be torn down, you've seen a lot of work going on there. And that work is because they're going to be putting in 16 executive apartments on the second and third floor there in downtown, right across the street from Stephanie. She's been very active with Michelle Gonzalez on navigating some challenges and some hurdles for that project. The council has been very supportive of that project to not have to tear down a historic building in downtown. But that's going to be incredible to watch come to fruition over the next 6 months or so. Then Union Street, we're going to have some executive units there as well. That's 5 units. Railroad Street, there's 8 units. Those are going to be short-term rental options. There's a lot of construction going on. So as those construction projects are happening, a lot of folks are traveling in from out of town. They need some place to stay. And right now they're staying in all of our hotels. But we don't need them staying in our hotels because we need the hotels for the other projects that we have going on, such as the Police Academy and for the Sports Factory. We've had last year alone, we had 311 permits, $60 million increase over 2024. So a total permit cost of right at $91 million in new construction in 2025. Why is that important? Because year over year, we're seeing that number increase. And this year, we're going to see that number increase yet again. Next year, we're going to see that increase yet again. So very favorable for construction in Madisonville, Hopkins County. So,
and these developers are smart people. They don't invest millions and millions of dollars if they don't have a good reason. So when you see all these housing units that are coming, understand it's because we're growing. It's not because they want to waste money. We've got people coming every day.
Well, and that's what I was going to say. I mean, with a room full of business leaders here, it's got to be music to their ears, hearing all of this development, because that's just going to help them. It's going to impact them moving forward.
well, I think the great thing is you're not just hearing it, you're seeing it. And you're seeing the things come to fruition that we talked about or that you heard about last year. You're seeing those things actually happen this year.
So, speaking of the library, it's just real fitting that a site that was once dedicated to stories and chapters is soon going to begin a new chapter. ChatGPT did that for me. You like that?
You're special.
So, Judge, moving on, because I know we're moving on through time here. One of the issues that I know you and the magistrates have spent a lot of time talking about here lately, and that's the Humane Society. These services don't necessarily always dominate the headlines, but they matter deeply to a lot of our...
Are you sure he's been talking about it? Because I'm not sure. I watch social media.
They do dominate the headlines when you don't have one.
That's true. That's true. Well, let's create another headline. Talk about what's happening with it.
Yeah, so right now, and we've got Dustin's back there. I don't know if he wants to stand up or not. Dustin, stand up here, everybody can see. That's the director of the Humane Society. Yeah, he did just win an award because he has done a fantastic job for a long time. And then, we had to tear the old building down, and there's a lot of different discussion about the tornado didn't tear it all down, didn't take it out, but it had to be torn down. So we've got a facility, the old Dugan Street facility, which everybody probably remembers. We ran that for 15, 20 years, Dustin. That was our only shelter at the time. Unfortunately, it's not big enough for our need. And I say unfortunately because we should not need that much space. If people would take care of their animals, take care of their pets, we wouldn't need that, but we do. So we are in the process of transferring property to the Humane Society where they're going to build a new facility. Right now, I think we're about 20, 25 dogs, what we can handle. The new facility will be over 100. So it's needed. It's probably going to be a 2-year process to get that building up and going. The fiscal court has committed to making sure that gets done. So unfortunately we need it, but we will have it, and it's going to be a great facility. But now the Dillon Street facility is open, much more limited capacity than what we had. But we definitely, the fiscal court members, we've heard all about the issues with the Humane Society, so I appreciate their support in making sure that this gets done.
Thank you, Judge. Mayor, I know we've had a few warm days here, and it's really given me spring or maybe even a little summer fever. But I know that your team is deep into the planning season for all of the events that the city hosts during the summer. And I know when KSR was here last week, you all had some announcements that were made. What can residents look forward to this summer?
Well, let's hope it's not this.
Right.
Because right now we're deep in water throughout the city. You know, I want to recognize Carrie Eisen. Carrie, will you stand up? She's our new events director. Carrie, thank you. Carrie's been navigating our events for this year. The council just approved the majority of those events on Monday night. Thank you, Frank, Larry, for making that happen. The events, when you look at events across the city, again, it's just another one of those things that we're getting recognized regionally and nationally for because of the type of events that we have. That's possible because of the restaurant tax that's out there, that 3%. Those funds can only be utilized for the July 4th weekend. It can only be used for tourism-related events. So the tourism committee approved to do a full slate of events this year. Last year, just to give you kind of an idea, we had over 200,000 visitors come into our community just for those events, which is an economic impact conservatively at $2.1 million. So if you do the numbers on 200,000 people and $2.1 million, you can see why that's a very conservative number for an economic impact. The 2026 schedule, we have been able to announce our first ever title sponsor for our events. That's going to be Toyota of Madisonville. We're super thankful for Brad and Meredith Tyson's investment into our events this year. Along with several other sponsors. We can't do it without each and every sponsor. Some of you all are in the room. Thank you for believing in the events. Thank you for understanding that economic impact and how your logo on those events really stamp community support when people are here looking at what's going on in the community. And as we're out advertising our community across the nation. On Friday, we were able to make the announcement of Fourth Fest, so you can see those listed over there. On Friday is going to be a 90s dance party with All for One, Color Me Bad, Sugar Hill Gang, and Quad City DJs. I'm pretty sure that Jack's going to be up there in the midst of each one of those acts.
Not at the dance party, you won't. Break a hip.
You notice he didn't jump on the stage today. On Saturday, we're going to have local Miles Gee, the Lax, Ashland Craft, and the band Perry. So as we're wrapping or jumping into our 250th anniversary for America on 4th of July, we're going to be able to have some incredible acts there. But the 2026 plan includes Madisonville Salutes. That's been moved to May this year. May 16th is going to be Madisonville Salutes. The Madisonville Salutes is going to look a little different this year. We're going to have the Vietnam Memorial Wall again. We're going to have the World War II Monument again. We've also been able to add a couple of more opportunities. One is the Korean Memorial and the First Responder Memorial. So if you've not seen those things, I encourage you to come out and see those things there for Madisonville Salutes. We will be announcing soon, hopefully, that we're going to have an artist there that evening as well. So it's a full afternoon of events, and we would love to have you out to honor our veterans and to honor our active military in our community. Fourth Fest, of course, we've already announced. Madisonville Illuminated. If you've not been out in the traffic for the Hot Air Balloon Show, it was much better last year than it was the year before. We were able to speed things up there for the Madisonville Illuminated event. Harvest Fest brings over 30,000 people into Mar Park. It's exactly what Miss Mar wanted. She wanted people to enjoy the land and enjoy the space and understand the importance of it. Wings Over Western Kentucky is moving back to a day show this year. So we'll alternate those. And so if you were able to be out there for the night show last year, that was incredible. This year, it's going to be a day show. It has been moved to the following weekend, so it's at the end of fall break instead of the beginning of fall break. So for all of you all that are making fall break plans, plan to leave early and come back early so that you can be there for that. Deck the Park is another huge success. The council and the committee agreed to continue to move forward with Deck the Park, so you'll see that again this year as well, and some enhancements even in the downtown area.
Thank you.
Couldn't do it. You can see our sponsors over there on the wall right now. There's still a little bit of time. If you're not a sponsor and you want to be a sponsor, to be able to get your name added in there, get with Carrie. She'll be more than happy to make that happen.
Thanks, Mayor. I know a couple years ago when the three of us were sitting on this stage, we were talking about the sports complex, the new sports complex, and what we thought might be the economic impact of that facility. What we had been told that a potential economic impact of that facility might be. But it's built, and we're starting to see the economic impact of that facility. You all both talk about it, because I know the city and the county both. This was a partnership. So talk about what you're seeing happen because that facility is here now.
You know, and that's one of the great things about that. And we talk about the infrastructure that you don't see. It's really easy to see the impact of that building. Just go out there on just about any weekend, most weeknights, the parking lot is full. There are thousands of people that come here to go to these events, spend their money, buy food, go shopping. Just go out there. If you have not been to the sports complex, the West Kentucky Sports Factory, go out there and see it, and see the impact it's making. You know, the council and the court worked together to get this done. We took a little heat over it because we were too late, or if we weren't the right community for it. Bull. It's great. It has worked out absolutely better than we ever hoped it would. I know the mayor's got some numbers to actually go with that. I don't need the numbers. I just need to walk out there and look at it and see the impact. And Mayor, I appreciate this never would have happened if we had not worked on it together. So without the city and the county working together, and that doesn't happen anywhere else.
No, listen, I'm going to be honest. I called Jack last night to tell him how much I appreciated him. And how
Also told me you were stuck in D.C. and you weren't going to be here today.
Well, it was raining, or going to be, so. But, you know, again, it was because of that partnership and the relationship that Jack and I have that I believe that we were able to navigate the conversations with both the court and with the city council to come up with a plan to say, let's stop talking about it and let's do something about it. And here we are, we have it, we can see it. We've had our first year is kind of a partial year. Actually, you can't book too many tournaments a year in advance when you're not 100% sure that you're going to be open, right? So we navigated a partial year last year in 2025. But even with a partial year last year, the approximate economic impact was over $3 million to the community. That's a big win. Is one business specifically seeing that? No, you're seeing it all across the city. It's very similar to the archery complex that's already in place. You know, when there's archery tournaments coming in, everybody is seeing that economic impact as well. So the Sports Factory last year, visitor-wise, had over 122,000 visitors. It's approximately already for 2026, and we're just in March, so approximately $800,000 already year-to-date from January 1st for economic impact. 40 weekends are booked for the Sports Factory throughout the summer or throughout the year. 9 weeks of summer camps this year. So if you've got children that want to be in summer camps, you're going to have a lot of opportunities for that. And where we saw a lot of comments on how we're not going to have rec leagues, or we're going to take all that away, and we're not going to be taking care of our own community, well, you see that's already not true. You're seeing those rec leagues. I know you've been out there and saw the impact of that. You can see some of that on the screen.
You know, you go out there in the mornings during the week and you see locals out there walking, you know, playing pickleball every day. And thank you for getting pickleball courts in there. I mean, I know that was the thing that you were most concerned about.
That was definitely at the top of my list for pickleball. If you haven't heard the story, Jack Jack was able to lay back and just watch me get chewed up one end and down the other during COVID over pickleball. While he's standing right next to me, and they never look at me. They're just chewing me apart because of
The
it.
little old lady was so sweet to me.
Yeah, I actually gave you a hug and told me I was going to kill her. So thanks for the.
Okay, let's move on. Lyle's back there getting nervous. He's
Yeah.
looking at his watch.
He doesn't know what's coming.
He's thinking about the time. So, got 3 more questions, Lyle, and then we're gonna finish it out. But everything we've been talking about this morning is economic development. It really flows back to and why you all are doing what you do. And it doesn't stop at a city limit sign or a county sign, whatever. But can you both talk about we've got some great folks that work and do economic development here in county with Wade and Kelly and Bill. But talk a lot about what's going on as it pertains to actually industry recruitment.
So there's a lot of things there's a lot of people that are looking that don't want you to mention names or different things, but what we have to do is look to the future to get sites that we can bring companies into, to find the properties, to develop them, to have them ready. There was a time when people wanted spec buildings, and we built spec buildings here, and then they sat. So now it's to get site ready, so we can have speed to market for these companies that come in, and we see that already with E. Hoffman Packaging over there up on the screen. We got a site build ready, and it was a matter of weeks, and we had somebody saying, hey, we want that property, and we're going to be bringing 225 jobs to Madisonville and Hopkins County. So that's why we're doing site work in Dawson Springs to have some sites ready. We are actively looking for additional properties that we can have ready to develop. And our economic development is working with the employers that are already here, because that's where most of your growth comes from, is making sure you keep the employers that are here and that we help them grow.
Yeah, and to kind of piggyback on that, when we're looking at doing build-ready sites, it also helps that our economic development president is the state representative representing Kentucky or Madisonville. So he's also working on funding right now to help us navigate another build-ready site as we speak, working to get that money in the budget. Because we do know that once we get that build-ready site, even if it's just designated as a build-ready and we're working on it, it puts us at the top of the list for a lot of those companies. But we couldn't do that without the support of the council and the fiscal court, recognizing that sometimes you got to take a risk. Sometimes you got to think outside the box. Sometimes you got to say yes even when you may want to say no, but you're saying a yes because you're looking into the future and you're understanding what the needs are going to be. When you look at the existing businesses and industries in our community, it would floor you. I know Melody's in here somewhere. It would floor you and Kelly's been working on this too. It'd floor you to really understand the increase in employment numbers within those organizations. And it's more than, for us, it's more than just going out and building a new business. It's more than just bringing in a new company with 1,000 employees. It's finding ways to continue to support the businesses that you have right here. I know that the city, Brad Porter's over here, we were able to work with GE Aerospace on helping them become carbon neutral. And that's a big win for the city of Madisonville to have the opportunity to offer that to our industries that are looking at those tags that they can put with their businesses. Having the carbon neutral allows us to be able to attract those businesses that are looking at some environmental impacts as well. So.
Thanks, Mayor. One last topic. I know when I look at my credit card statement, I see Hobby Lobby, Hobby Lobby, Hobby Lobby, Aldi. We've had a lot of retail development here lately. Talk about that retail development and sort of what's continuing to be done as far as recruitment is concerned. And then I know you've started this Kentucky Connections program, so talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so how many of you have been to the new shopping center? Raise your hand. How many of you are thankful that we have that new shopping center? Yeah, my wife is too, because I see the same thing. I walk in and there's another something on the surface, and it came from Hobby Lobby, and she's like, have you been upstairs yet? And I'm like, I haven't been upstairs in a long time. and I don't have any reason to go upstairs. She says, well, you need to go check out the bedroom upstairs. And I go check out the bedroom, and it looks like an interior designer has been in the bedroom. I'm like, well, who's been here? She said, well, I did that. I said, well, what do you mean you did that? I went to Hobby Lobby, and I said, oh, okay, that's nice, I appreciate that. So it's definitely been a great impact. I mean, we see Brad Long in the 7 Brew line every single day. You see Chuck Shockley in the Zaxby's parking lot every single day. And it's been a huge impact for us economically. We talk about this all the time. The Brewer Development Group making that investment in our community has really changed shopping for our community. We've seen more money spent in the city of Madisonville during Christmas time, I think, than we've ever seen before. If you have any questions about that, I think we have pictures of the parking lot and the lines within each store. But we know that because when we go in and talk to the managers, we don't just recruit businesses. We're back in there doing follow-ups and talking to them and working with their management teams to make sure that there's nothing that the city can do to help. Just like the Chamber is doing with all of our small businesses as well. We do that with our Small Business Roundtable. It's important to keep those relationships going as we're trying to navigate new retail in the community. But we're hearing them talk about their sales numbers and how they're 2 and 3 times what their corporate offices projected the stores to do. Even with 7 Brew right now is still tracking only number 2 behind Chicago. And it's a pretty big win when you have one that's opened up in Hopkinsville and you have one that's opened up in Henderson, and ours is still beating both of those markets. That's a big deal for us. So we've seen a lot of success. You've seen those listed on the screen. You've seen them open up. So what we've been able to do is, because we've seen so much success, we wanted to offer that to really the region and then the state. So Brad Long, Jennifer Dave, Sarah, Amy, the team in the city has worked really hard at saying, hey, we want to help others be successful, because if we can help them, then we're going to help us as well. So when you look at that, the reason that Henderson is receiving a Jersey Mike's and a 7 Brew and a Zaxby's is 100% related to our work and the retail efforts that we've been doing. So what those franchisees are looking for is multiple markets that they can build in. So we decided to do a venture called Kentucky Connections. So now when we're out doing retail recruitment, we're taking other cities across the state with us, so that there are decision makers right there in the room. And you've been to those events with us. When we go in May, we're going to have 11 other cities with us. Their mayors are going, their economic development directors are going, some of their council members may go, but they are the ones making the decisions in those communities. And that matters, because when those developers are walking around those shows, when those investors are looking at where they can put their money, they can stop at a one-stop shop at Kentucky Connections.
I see Lisa walking to the podium over here.
That's a hint.
So that is our hint. But I have one final question, and I added this at the last minute, so I hope you all read my emails.
We did not.
But just before we wrap up, what's the one thing that you all are most optimistic about for the upcoming year?
There's so much. How do you say one thing? I guess what makes me the most optimistic is the people out here in our community, and the relationships we have, the leadership we have in our community, because we're seeing the growth that has come from the efforts that the mayor and his team have put in, that the fiscal court has put in. And without the community that supports that, it wouldn't happen. So that the teamwork that we have, the people that we have is what I'm the most optimistic about.
Yeah, I'll agree. I think that when you look at a unified community, we have it. And we can do all the work that we want to do, but as the citizens of the community and of the county, if you're not on board with it, it doesn't matter what we do, they're not going to want to come here. Because when they come in, they may set up a meeting with us, but they spent the first day just walking around talking to you. And I think that it's extremely important to understand the impact that each person has in every role that you have, whether you're working at the bank, whether you're working at the school, whether you're working at the hospital. You know, we've had a pretty hard-stopping year this year, so it's been great to know that we've had the relationships that we've had with Baptist Health Deaconess Madisonville. But when you have people coming in the community and they see the Chamber of Commerce, the economic development, the city, the county, the schools, all working together for a common goal, and that's to improve the quality of life of our community, I think it's extremely important. We've even had some come in that drove by some of the job sites where they're blacktopping streets, fixing sidewalks, or fixing a water leak, and they stop and talk to the individuals that are doing that work, and they're like, I don't understand. They were happy. They were excited to be in the hole with the sewer running through the line. They were happy and taking pride in what they were doing, and they want to be invested in a community like that. So thank you all for what you do.
We're very optimistic about the future, and we've got a lot of people from the school system back here, and I'd like to put a challenge out for next year to bring some of the young folks, the kids that are still in school, to events like this, because they are the ones that are leaders in the future. They're the ones that are going to be up here. And you may look at them and wonder, I don't know about that kid. Well, I guarantee you, nobody thought we were going to be up here.
There's a few.
Well, gentlemen, thank you all. Thank you for your leadership. Thank you for, most importantly, your vision. You got a dream. You've got a dream for these things to become reality, and you all have both touched on it. But for these folks to show up on a rainy day, I think that says a lot that our business leaders are interested in what's going on and want to make sure that our community's growing and moving forward. So thank you all for being here. That says a whole lot. And so Lisa, back to you.
Some of us in this room remember when this thing used to go on 2 hours, and so we're making sure that doesn't happen. But thank you all so much. Jason Vincent, generously volunteers to moderate this event every year, and we appreciate the big role he takes in making it run so smoothly. We couldn't do it without our sponsors, First United Bank, our citizen sponsors, Madisonville Community College, GE Aerospace, and then also make sure you see who our table sponsors are. Take a minute just to realize these people are investing in your community and in your chamber. Todd's Furniture for the furniture, Central High School's FFA for the ferns, and so if you're interested in ferns or greenhouse, check out those. Lastly, but thank you to the Chamber ambassadors and volunteers who helped us set up, and certainly not least the Chamber's Caitlin Dane for all her behind the scenes work to make sure this event was a success. So let's all go back to work and continue